Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's On the Road Again video. It is the end of our 10-night cruise to Greece and Turkey. So we thought before we got off the ship tomorrow, we would do a wrap-up video sharing with you 10 things that we really like about Celebrity Infinity and this cruise, and 10 things that we don't like. Now stick with us because you might be surprised at some of the things that we said that we didn't like. And also, if you've enjoyed this series, make sure you've hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and do leave a comment because we love hearing from you guys and also hearing the kind of content that you like us making. So James, let's kick off with the first thing. We've got it on our phone if we're looking down here. The first things that we liked about the cruise.
Service. Staff on board have been absolutely fantastic. They remember your name, you can have jokes with them, they remember your orders. On the Infinity, being a smaller ship with less passengers, they seem to have more time to get to know you. So definitely service way through the roof on that front.
Yeah, so this cruise apparently is sailing at 200 people under capacity, so around about 2,000 people instead of 2,200. But the service on the cruise ship, we actually divided this into two, the crew and the service. But if we talk about the service, first of all, the service has been fantastic. We've never had to queue at all to get into the main dining room. We did pre-book the times we wanted to eat.
Top tip.
Yeah, we've never had to wait for drinks. And as James said, as the cruise went on, the crew got to know our drinks order and also our room numbers, so we didn't even have to show our C-Pass. So yeah, a good tip is if you've got any time dining, once you're on the ship, just book the times that you want, and then you can go into the line that says people that have booked, and there's a second line for people who haven't booked, and there's always a longer queue for that. So if you just pre-book even a day before, then you can just go into the fast track line, and as I said, we never ever had to wait. And what makes the service great is how good the crew are. So from our room cabin to the bars to the restaurants, they've been absolutely fantastic. And if you do what we do, which is always write down the names of the crew that have been particularly great, and then in your post survey you can actually name those people as well, and you know that helps them when they have their appraisals and getting their next contract and so on. And also we like to tip a few of the people that have given us exceptional service. So the crew have been fantastic, and that has been something that's been consistent on all our Celebrity cruises, hasn't it? I don't think we've ever had bad crew. Which sadly we can't say the same for when we went on the other cruise lines, where the crew seemed pretty stressed and there weren't enough crew and they didn't seem very happy. So that does have such a big impact on the cruise, doesn't it? So the next thing that we liked is the size of the ship. So James, talk to us about that.
The ship, you would say it's a medium size, maximum 2,200 passengers. So you can easily get around the ship in about 10 minutes. It's not taking a trek to the other side of the country just to get to the dining room. You literally, 10 minutes, you're there. It's just the perfect size. Yeah. I think the sweet spot's any ship up to about 3,000. We personally like, I think the bigger the ship, the more queues you encounter. Queues in buffet, queues for dining rooms, queues to get off the ship. So I think this one, just the size of the ship just made it easier to just navigate. We've been on this type of ship before, so it feels like coming home. The same, we know where things are instantly. Just been able to walk downstairs, go to Cafe Bacio, get a coffee in the morning. 5 minutes as opposed to having to trek across a place to find it. Yeah. Getting off the ship, getting back on the ship, hardly had any queues.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's been really nice that in the morning we're on deck 6, and in the morning we can just walk down one flight of stairs, and we're towards the forward of the ship. So to get to Cafe Bacio takes sort of 2-minute walk. Whereas when we were on the P&O Iona last year, it was such a huge ship that you couldn't really get up and go and get a coffee in the morning because it was like a half-mile trek. Yeah. So that's our perfect size, and we totally understand that. You guys might have different views. So what's your perfect size ship? Do leave a comment and let us know. Some people like the bigger ships because they have a lot more facilities and there's more for kids to do. Whereas for us, this ship, is perfect. We don't have children. There aren't a lot of kids on this particular cruise, and there probably isn't that much besides the kids clubs for them to do either. So size of the ship is definitely a big plus for us.
Also, for anyone who likes smaller ships, let us know what you think of them. Maybe we could look at booking one for the future, and then we can do a review on one of those, such as Azamara, one of those ones, because we saw the Azamara yesterday in Rhodes, and that looked much smaller. So
yeah, absolutely. We think this is a small ship, but of course there are much smaller ones as well. The next thing on our list was the itinerary, and of course a lot of people are going to choose their cruise based on their itinerary, which we did for this one. This was a pretty port intensive cruise, so tell us about that, James.
Seriously port intensive. Out of 10 days, we had 2 days which were sea days. Started in Athens, so lots of history. Went to Nafplion, which was a lovely little town, as you've seen in the video. Really chilled, just beautiful to walk around. It has a yachting vibe, so great place for that. Then we were in Istanbul for 2 days. Crazy place, but lots of history again. Then we went to, God, where did we go?
Somewhere else in Turkey.
Kushadasi. We went to Ephesus. Again, loads of history. This itinerary is just amazing if you are a history buff and you just love all that history. This itinerary is amazing because it's lots of really ancient history. Then we went to Santorini, Rhodes again, the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and then today we finished on Mykonos. Again, very historical and beautiful.
And just a couple of things about that. First of all, as you all know, we never book our excursions through the cruise line because you're literally going to pay double. And I know you have the peace of mind of if you're late, then the cruise ship will wait for you. But we always book it through Get Your Guide or Viator, and we pay half the price. We often get a private tour rather than a big coach tour for half the price, and we just make sure that it finishes sort of an hour or two before the deadline for getting on the ship. This ship's had a couple of tender ports and they've been perfectly fine. We haven't had to wait at all. They've been so organised in how they do that, so that has been really good. And it's been great going to different places, and it sort of surprises. I think my favourite stop was Rhodes. It was really nice going back to Santorini. We stayed out until the evening, had dinner, as you'll have seen. A bit disappointed with Istanbul, but I'm not sure we saw the best of it or did the best things. And really enjoyed Kushadasi as well. Yeah, and also Athens. It was really nice having those couple of days at the beginning. I really like to come back to Athens. Of course, one of the great things about a cruise is you can visit new places and then decide you want to come back and make a longer trip. So one of the things we want to do next year, perhaps, is to do a bit of an island hopping holiday in Greece, not on a cruise ship necessarily, but just say flying into Athens and then getting on the ferries, which is really easy to do, and visiting 2 or 3 of the different islands. So that's something that we're planning on the cards for next year. And of course, if we do that, we will be taking you along with us as well. So that is number 5, which is the itinerary. Number 6 of our favourites was the food, particularly in the main dining room, because we only ate in Sushi on 5 one evening and Tuscan Grille on one evening, but otherwise we've been in the main dining room and also the buffet. So tell us about what you thought about that.
The main dining room food was consistent, really nice. I don't think I've had a bad meal. Okay, some of the meals may be slightly bland or something, but it was never bad to the point where you had to send it back. Sizes were small, but then you can always order more. At least you don't walk away feeling bloated. So if you do have a bigger appetite, just order a second starter or speak with your server. Half the time we would speak with the server and go, what's the size of this? And they were like, oh, it's about this big. And you can, okay, could I have more vegetables or could I add something? So you could always just talk to them and they were like, no problem, write it down. And they would just present you with what you want to fill your appetite. Buffet, amazing again. Food has been fresh, changing every day. Salads were amazing. And then they would have themed evenings as well. Desserts, so-so. But soft serve ice cream, always a hit. Always a hit. So especially in the heat, it's a nice way to finish off lunch.
Yeah, I think the waiter staff get to know you after a while, and our friends, as you've seen, quite like to eat quite a lot, so they'd be saying, oh no, you need 2 of that, so they just double up on the salmon or double up on the vegetables. And last night I ordered the lobster, and he said, oh, it's very small, why don't you order something else as well? So I had the beef Wellington as well. And I think the buffet's been really good, lots of fresh food. I would say that the buffet's not quite as good as it was on the Celebrity Apex, but that's probably just because it's bigger and therefore they have the space to give a bit more choice. But nevertheless, it's been very good. And as James said, soft serve ice cream has been the sort of saviour for us up there, because the other desserts aren't that good, although the fresh fruit is really good. So that is the food, which is one of the reasons that we come back to Celebrity time and time again, because it has been consistently good. And we are not fuss eaters, but we do like good food, and we've had that on this cruise, so that has been really good. Another thing about this cruise was the fact that we really felt like the ship wasn't very full. Almost everywhere we've been, there have been no crowds, and sometimes there's been hardly anybody there. And we thought, oh, well, the cruise ship isn't that full. But then we found out that it was actually only 200 people under capacity. So it is actually pretty full. I guess it's just that we tend to do things a little bit against the tide, maybe. Like when people are watching the show, we are going to a bar, or when they're at the show, we're going to eat dinner. And so it hasn't felt busy, has it?
No queues anywhere. Our friends did say yesterday for breakfast it was a bit of a bun fight in the buffet. So I just think it was just timing just before people getting off the ship. But otherwise, no, you never had to fight for a table. If you went to Cafe Baccio to get coffee or a tea or everything, there's always a table for four. It's never felt crowded. Maybe it's just the size of the ship. And I think being a hot weather cruise does make a difference. We didn't go up on deck to sit in the sun. We're not those type of people. So maybe up there it was a bit crazy, but the rest of the ship was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, and that's true of the dining room, it's true of the public areas, it's true of the cafes, the bars. It's all been pretty quiet, and we'd literally sit down in a bar and a waiter would come over straight away and take our order, so we never had to wait very long at all. So that is the next thing. And number 8 on our list was how great Tuscan Grille was. So this is a specialty restaurant. I think we paid about $65 each in advance to eat there, and the food was fantastic there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was definitely the highlight food wise. If you can, Tuscan Grille. On the Millennium class ships, you only have the Tuscan Grille or Le Petit Chef and Sushi on Fire. There's a specialty. So if you're on a Millennium class ship, definitely I highly recommend booking Tuscan Grille. And if you can get any deals beforehand, just keep looking on the app to see if there's any sales. Yeah. Definitely worth booking Tuscan Grille. The food, the service, everything. It was amazing. We did walk away from really stuffed.
Yeah, and a good tip actually is today, which is the last day, they've got deals like 40% off. So if you did want to eat at the end, you can save some money. One of the nice things there is you can order some of the pasta dishes at half portion sizes. So I had the lobster pasta, which was absolutely lovely for a starter. And then I think we all had steaks, didn't we? Which was great. Yeah. So you'll have seen that video. But definitely recommend Tuscan Grille. So number 9 on our list was the solo guitarist, and the singer was really good.
Yeah. The entertainment's a bit hit and miss. Some of the entertainment's really good, some not so good. But the solo guitarist on this cruise, his voice was just amazing. I suppose depending on what type of person you are, whether you're into shows or different entertainment, it's definitely worth picking up that, because we also went to a couple of the quizzes. We did the bingo, which was fun. So
expensive.
It was expensive, yeah.
And we didn't win.
Yeah.
In fact, the same family, we played 3 games, the same family won all 3 games.
Times.
Fix. But anyway, it was good fun. The other entertainment we weren't so into. I watched a bit of the show last night, which was good, but the duet singers were a bit cheesy for us. But the solo guitarist, just like on the Apex, was really, really good. Yeah. And last but not least in our 10 likes was the fact how clean the ship is, and there always seems to be someone cleaning, doesn't there?
Yeah. There's always someone walking around cleaning all the brass and all the chrome and glass and everything. It seems like a never-ending job for them poor guys, but honestly, the ship has been spotless. The public areas are lovely. Infinity came out of dry dock last year.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So all the public areas have been done up. So even though it's an older ship, the cabin's slightly bit worse for wear around the edges, but public areas, lovely.
And I think even though it is an older ship, it's still got its charm. And like I said, it's very clean. So that's what you want, isn't it? That's what you care about. So that is our 10 likes. Have we missed any likes off? What do you particularly like that we didn't mention? Do leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. So let's move on to our 10 dislikes. And number 1 on the list was, in the early part of the cruise, how bloody cold it was on the ship. And I know people have commented on this before, but you definitely want to bring a jumper or jersey or a cardigan with you, because it can get really cold in the evenings.
The aircon is super freezing. I don't know, especially if you're going to be doing this cruise in the Mediterranean in the peak, like July, August, early September. They crank the aircon up something else. As it gets later on into the season, probably the air conditioning will probably be lowered, so it will feel warmer. But when we came on at the beginning of September, woo, that was cold.
It's interesting that as the cruise has gone on, they have turned the air conditioning down. So the last few nights in the main dining room, we haven't needed to have, a jumper with us. But at the beginning, we certainly did. And it's interesting. You can probably hear a hum in the background. So we're recording this in our cabin, and you can't turn the air conditioning off in your cabin, which is one negative thing about.
That's another negative. On the list
about an older ship compared to the Apex, where you've got much more control over it. So that is number one of our dislikes. The ship can be cold at times, so bring a jumper with you, even if you're on a really hot weather cruise like this has been, because it can get really cold in the evenings. And number two on our negative list, one that you can't really get away from, is that Celebrity Infinity is the oldest ship in the fleet with Celebrity, and so it's showing its age at times, isn't it?
Yeah, she's a grand old lady, bless her. Around, if you're going to look for a fault, you will find it, simple as. But the cabins, they definitely look a bit frayed around the edges, rust spots outside. She's old. I
think if you look, especially if you look up, if you go out on your balcony and look up, you can see a lot of rust everywhere that they're not seen to be fixing. There are some dodgy drawers and cabinets. We have to sort of really fiddle our wardrobe door to get it shut. Of course, there's no USBs in these cabins, not even in the side of the phone that there was on the Apex. So you need to bring an adapter with you for your phone charging and so on. But of course, that's to be expected. But it is just showing its wear and tear a little bit. And they didn't do a full refurb when they took it into dry dock. So the only thing they changed about the standard veranda cabin is the carpet. Nothing else has been changed. It would have been nice for a more full refit, but we suspect that at some point in the not too distant future they are going to retire the Celebrity Infinity, which maybe is why they're not making a major investment. I think as they get more edge class ships, they'll probably get rid of some of these older Millennium ships. That's number one. Or number two, which is the ship is showing signs of age. And number three on our list, which is kind of contradiction to what we talked about earlier, is that one of the evenings we went to Sushi on 5 for dinner, which is the first time we've done it because we've often done that for lunch, and we found Sushi on 5 for dinner really disappointing, didn't we?
Yeah, I think more so for the atmosphere, because especially on the Infinity, it's open to cellar masters. So if there's a huge group, because there's a massive group on this ship that all gathered in cellar masters, there was a band playing and there was shouting and laughing and all that stuff, you could hardly hear yourself whilst you're having dinner in Sushi 5. So there is no separation between creating different zones where you could actually feel that you've gone to the destination and you're spending good money. You want to kind of be in that zone as such.
Yeah, it was basically you just got a kind of a few bits of decoration separating you from cellar masters. And unfortunately, the night we were there, like James said, there was a big group. It was really noisy. Nothing against them, because of course they're allowed to enjoy themselves. There was a musician just playing there, so you couldn't sort of really hear yourself think. Yeah. And also the food was a bit disappointing. Like I ordered the Wagyu burger for my starter, and they're like, "Oh no, we don't have any Wagyu. It's
the
just
Wagyu
a regular
sliders."
Yeah, it's just a regular.
No, it was a Kobe slider.
Yeah, a Kobe, and they're like, "No, don't have any Kobe." So it's just a regular burger at a very expensive price that tasted really meaty, and I didn't really like very much.
But the sushi was nice.
Yeah, it's just nice. Expensive. So we ended up eating and then going up to the buffet to eat some more. So I wouldn't do Sushi on 5 in the evening, but I definitely do it for lunch. We usually do it on our boarding day.
And vacation day is the best time because it's quiet.
Yeah, because you haven't got the chaos of the buffet where everyone else goes. So that is number 4, the 3 on our list, and number 4 on our list was we felt that there were just too many upsells going on, and I think this is probably a common complaint on all cruise lines, but we just were constantly being upsold.
Yeah, there was always someone coming out trying to sell you going to other restaurants, or just constant upsells everywhere.
We'd be at the end of our meal in the main dining room, and the lovely waiter would come up and say, "Oh, are you gonna? Here's a thing. Are you going to eat here tomorrow night?" And we'd like, "No, that's fine, thank you." Yeah. And then of course they're upselling the drinks packages and everything else at the beginning of the cruise. So I totally understand that they make commission that way, and the cruise line probably makes a lot of its money through those upsells, but we just kind of felt it was a bit too much in your face, so we didn't like that so much.
Yeah, and that leads on to our next one, the devaluation of the classic drinks package. It's definitely noticeable what you can and can't get on the classic drinks package. Before you could get an Aperol Spritz on the classic package. Now you can't. Just little things like that. Just leaves a little bit of taste.
To some clarity, so on this cruise, the classic drink package gives you drinks up to $10, and the premium drinks packages, I think, $17. And there was almost no wines that you can get for $10. So we had a choice of 2 wines, a Pinot Grigio or a Sauvignon Blanc. And the Pinot wasn't very nice. Sauvignon Blanc is okay. So you've got very little choice. Admittedly, the waiters will go and make you whatever you want using cheaper. Yeah, so we felt that it's a bit like, I don't know if you know EasyJet and speedy boarding. If everybody buys speedy boarding, then no one gets on quicker. And because nowadays a lot of people get the drinks package included in their fare like we did, I think they've devalued it. And the prices of drinks are crazy. I mean, if you didn't have a drinks package on this cruise, it's crazy prices, like $10 for a cheapest glass of wine.
20%.
Yeah, so we were a bit disappointed with that. Don't get me wrong, we've had lots of drinks, drunk every night.
Make good use of it.
And we haven't actually upgraded anything, like paid extra for anything. But it is, compared to what it used to be, it is nowhere near as good. So do think about that when you're either buying the classic package or indeed look for sales where you can get them discounted beforehand. We were hoping we would find a sale that would give us, say, 20% off to upgrade to the premium package, but we only found one at 5%, so we didn't bother. So yeah, that's our next sort of negative about the devaluation of the classic package, especially compared to what it used to be. Another thing which is kind of similar to what we've already said is that the older the ship doesn't quite feel as premium as Celebrity used to feel, and certainly doesn't feel as premium as the edge class ships.
We were on the Infinity, 12 years ago?
Yeah.
And you can tell the furnishings, for example, in the foyer, they used to have big drapes that used to run down the whole length of the foyer and down. They've gone. Little things.
And all the shops where there used to be drapes, they've all gone as well.
They've all gone. So there's little things that seem to be missing from the older ships. I think maybe they're going to be retiring them, so they're slowly cutting back on that. But if this is your first experience of Celebrity and you get all the advertising which show the edge class ships, there is a bit of a disparity between the two different.
Yeah, and of course you do pay less to come on one of the older Millennium ships than you do the edge class ships. One of the things that I've already mentioned you can probably hear is that, like in the stateroom, the air conditioning is really noisy, and like I say, you can't turn it off. Whereas in the edge class ships, you've got the beautiful LED panel. You can control it from your phone. You can control all sorts of things. You obviously can't do that here. The TV is an analog TV, so you can't check your stateroom balance. You can't get video. Films on demand, all the things that you can. I know I'm sounding like a sort of princess or a first world problem, but those things just make the ship feel slightly less premium than we like to think Celebrity is. What makes it premium is the food and the service and the crew. And what doesn't make it premium is the quality of the ship. I'm not really complaining because we've really enjoyed this.
Yeah,
we were worried because we went on the Apex in June. We were going to make that direct comparison to a very new ship and all of that goes with that versus this, but it's such a different experience, and we do like the smaller size of the ship. Anyway, that was our next sort of negative, which was the older ship. And the next one is quite amusing, but we've been on a mission with this one, and that is the fact that you cannot get fizzy tonic water anywhere on the ship. And so we like to have a gin and tonic before dinner. You cannot get fizzy tonic, and we in the end,
on the classic package.
Well, yeah, on the classic package, and in the end, we asked someone if they could bring us a can of tonic water that was unopened, because we figured the reason why our gin and tonics were always flat was because they've opened a big plastic bottle, they've got halfway through it, maybe the next day, and of course that tonic water has gone flat. So the barman brought us a can of tonic, and we opened that and poured it in, and that tonic wasn't fizzy either. So
it was lightly sparkling. By the time you poured it and the bubbles went, it was flat.
Which is fine, again, first world problems. But I think if you were on the premium package, you could ask, for example, for Fever Tree tonic, and then you're going to get a little can, and it's going to be fizzy. But the generic brand of tonic water that we can get in the classic package is not fizzy. So just be mindful of that. drinking flat gin and tonic is perfectly fine. It's just not quite what we're used to. And so in our list of first world problems, that was one of our dislikes. The next thing on our list, a bit more serious, is that we are really, really anti the donkeys that take you up the hill in Santorini, and we would never ever do it because we think it's so cruel. And we were really surprised to see Celebrity promoting that as a way of getting up to the top of
from the old port to Fira.
Yeah.
Don't use the donkeys. They do look sad, and you don't know how they're treated. And to go up and down that cliff
in baking hot
heat, however many times in a day, it's antiquated. I think it probably needs to be retired.
If the cruise ship is promoting it, it's not going to be retired. So Celebrity, stop promoting the donkeys in Santorini.
Yeah, it's cruel.
And viewers, please don't take them. Use the cable car. So quick. When we went up there, as you'll have seen, we had no queues because of the time of day.
If it's before lunchtime, you can buy a ticket at the old ports. This year it was €30. That will include a little ferry that will take you from the old port to Ia. Ia, you can get a bus from the port itself that would drive you up into Ia itself, explore Ia, and then includes a bus ticket that would get you from Ia back to Fira, so you can explore Fira before coming down on the cable car. So there's two other ways of getting up there. If it's really busy waiting for the cable car, maybe start in Ia, work your way back.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And that was our plan this year, but little did we know that by lunchtime or early afternoon, they don't run the ferries anymore because they're obviously not so profitable. So we didn't do that, but we were planning to get the bus from the bus station in Fira to Ia, but
that's crazy.
It was chaos. And they said, 5 minutes, and half an hour later there was no bus. So we decided not to even bother in the end. But just, anyway, please don't take the donkeys. And as I say, Celebrities, stop promoting the donkeys. That's just not good in this day and age. And last on our list, which was really, really bizarre, they obviously have guest speakers come on the cruise. Yeah, in the enrichment series. And last night we were sitting in the Constellation Lounge watching Sail Away, and what would you hope the entertainment would be while you're sailing away? Well, leave us a comment below and try and guess what it was, and you can pause here and leave a comment, because while we were sailing away and hoping that we'd hear nice music, nope, we had a talk on sea slugs. And I felt really sorry for the person who was delivering this, because there was no one listening. Well, there's a surprise, because at 7:30 in the evening, when you're having pre-dinner drinks, do you really want to listen to the sea slugs?
There was a sail away, and it was sunset. We were sailing into the sunset. So we had this beautiful sunset. Everyone was there with drinks, just watching the sail away out of roads. And this poor woman in the background was just talking about sea slugs. And I just felt bad for her, because, she was doing her job, but it just felt the wrong time to be putting it on, maybe a little bit earlier in the day or a little bit later in another venue. But at the Constellation Lounge, which is where everyone goes to see the views of Sail Away, etc., or sunsets, sea slugs and all the different types was a bit random.
So there we go, that's our 10th dislike. So have we listed the things that you don't like, or have you got something else that you don't like? Do leave us a comment below and let us know. I hope you found this series enjoyable. I hope you've learned something about the Celebrity Infinity, about preparations for cruising, or you've just enjoyed our travel vlogs. If you have, please give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and you'll be alerted when every new video goes live. And do leave us a comment about the kind of content that you enjoy watching. And if we've got a like or a dislike that we didn't mention on this vlog, then do leave us.
Put it in the comments. It would be good to hear your views of what you enjoyed or disliked on any cruises. It just helps build it up so other people can read that, and then they can make a decision as well from there.
Yeah, and on our next travel, which of course we're going to be taking you along, we are going to be going back to South Africa, and it's going to be a really exciting time. So first of all, it's 10 years since we first went there, so we decided to do the same garden route itinerary that we did the very first time. So we're going to take you along with that, but then when we get back from the garden route, we'll be getting the keys to our brand new apartment, and we'll be taking you along with us to see that apartment as well. So we are excited to spend time in our new home, doing some decorating, upgrading a few things, changing some of the furniture, and just settling into our own place. And so I hope you'll be interested in that and stick with us and see why we love South Africa, as well as cruises and all the other types of travel that we do. But other than that, we will see you next time when we head out on the road again.
Bye.